I did some psychological meditations because I kept having that dream about drowning in the ocean. And I think I found answers I was looking for. Turns out that ocean was my subconscious mind. But what this video is about, before I start rambling, you always fail at the person you're supposed to be, or in my case, the hero these people wanted me to be. You see, this entire scenario that was cooked up by these idiots is about making me the hero they admire. It's the hero they like. It's the kind of hero that is unstoppable and invincible and doesn't break no matter what. And he can handle anything and he can do anything. He can give himself psychological help. He doesn't need anyone. He's a loner and a loser and he does it all by himself. When actuality, every one of the church leaders never does anything alone. The church babies them. They're the biggest fakes you'll ever make, and this is one of the biggest egregious problems I have with Danielle McGinnis, Stu, or any other church leader. Their glory is all fictitious. It is like 28 years later when the father lies about that kid killing the zombies. It's fake. But the kind of hero, if you look at what happened here versus the organicness of what happened originally. The kind of hero I was organically, or who I wanted to be, I don't know. You look at it, I stumble upon Stu. Witchy Poo tells me some nonsense about him being a serial killer. And then I find out my cuddle buddy and everybody around me is trying to poison me with heavy metal. That all happened later. Before I found out any of that, I was just a good person doing the right thing. And it ended up in a kind of Deadpool, Naked Gun kind of scenario, where Stu kept trying to kill me and failing. And I just kept doing the right thing because it was the right thing and succeeding. Okay. I remember in elementary school there's this girl that wrote this story about this hero who's a bumbling idiot, but he always wins. But he's an idiot. And then he discovers at the end of the story he actually has a superpower. And his superpower is believing. Is simply believing. So if he believes something, it becomes true. So an example in her story, he beats a dragon. But the way he beats the dragon is the dragon has indigestion. And he stabs it in its belly and it pops. And they believe that's because he's so powerful. They tell the story he's such a masculine, manly man that he slayed the dragon with brutality. When actuality, the dragon had a bad case of indigestion, had a bloated belly. He poked it with a sword and the dragon popped. Okay. This is a elementary school story. And all through her stories is little caveats and stupid things like that. He defeats a Dark Lord because the guy slips and falls down the stairs. And these things keep happening. And if you look at my story between me and Stu, that is something that just kept happening. Time and time again. It was me believing that just being a good person was good enough. Which is what I used to believe. And then Anal Eating Mummy God and all these people, what do? They tried to rig up situations. The Black Lives Matter assassinations, they wanted me to report the church for that to lose its tax-exempt status. And I didn't understand what was going on. 2, Stu was fucking with my mind and poisoning me with heavy metals, and Blondie had poisoned me with heavy metals that I was completely retarded, and removed from myself, and removed from all reality for that matter. And everybody around me was working against me. Wonderful. The other aspect of my life is courage. And hilariously, courage is kept in the chakra and the solar plexus in the lower back, and it oversees digestion. If you remember all through this, I kept complaining about fucking not being able to digest or thinking I had some kind of cancer or something. Well, that's a lack of courage, and that is what happens when that chakra is blocked. But I want to talk about blocked chakras real quick because a lot of people don't care about this kind of stuff. I personally just neglect the whole chakra theory. But all your chakras are lined up in your spine and back. My back became crippled and twisted, and I remembered this feeling when I was sleeping one night where it felt like there were spiders or vines ripping across my lower back and ripping it apart and twisting it. As your back and spine twist, it misaligns your chakras. With your chakras misalign, some of them close, some of them open. That's what happens. Okay? And when you poison people with heavy metals, it causes some of those chakras to close. So, what if I was some kind of perfectly divine spiritual being that had fully open chakras, and then they were all fucking closed by you faggots, and you guys just go persevere, cause pain and problems? That is your way through life. Okay. And this even feeds into the conversation with Blondie and Anal Eating Mummy God, where they're like, there's this guy, and he's gonna give himself psychological help, and then he's gonna give himself chelation therapy, and then he's gonna recover, and he's gonna do everything himself. He's gonna figure out how to file pro se federally by himself, and nobody's gonna help him, and he's gonna do it himself. That is their kind of hero. That is the kind of guy they think is amazing. Okay. When the funniest thing about their kind of hero is it's 100% fiction. 100%. Because the church leaders are all babied by the church. You see, when Giovanni down here made the decision to send me the video of me and the baby, and you guys murdered him, that was the universe helping me. You murdering him is you acting against God in the universe itself. That is you blatantly going, no, we know better. That's what happens when you have a lead brain, by the way. But, so I don't think it really matters how much the universe actually tries to help me, because you faggots are going to stand in the way of it. But I believe that is what happened the first time through all of this shit. I think they say it in the Thor movies, you always fail at who you're supposed to be. Of course I was going to fail this task. Okay, one, you close my courage chakra. Congratulations on that. You must be proud of yourself. Good job. Being a piece of shit. And this, I want to talk about this, because even my damaged basal ganglia, and how it regulates your emotions, and I have unregulated emotions, and then you guys are like, regulate them! Have courage when we take... What are you trying to do? But I would argue it's that keep them fighting one hand behind your back. A narcissist will knife you in the back and tell you to thank them for it. That is their nature. And I would argue that is what this entire situation has been about. It is about your narcissistic, filthy, disgusting church leader getting what he wants, and he's going to get what he wants, because we know that all of his methods work. Are they correct? Are they moral? Do they have values? No. Do they create good people? No. They create trash. And even if you're a good person in this church, congratulations, you're trash. Okay? And you're trash until the day you walk over here and go, I'm going to represent you in court. We're all just going to do the right thing. Nobody's going to kill you, Bobby. And we're going to fix everything. But you aren't those kind of good people. You're the kind of good people that get into heaven, and then God goes, why did you think you were getting in here? Oh, wait, you want your planet. There it is, hell. Enjoy. You'll persevere down there just great. With the rest of the demons. But I can do these all day. My, point about this is I didn't realize it at the time, but I realize it now. In doing I did this entire thing. It was a meditation practice where I was trying to figure out this massive ocean I kept drowning in. What was it? It's supposed to be your subconscious mind. In my subconscious mind, there's no boat, there's no island. I just drown. And at first I thought it was because it was too much for me. But after speaking with my subconscious mind and creating an island in it, I discovered that I didn't have a ship. In my subconscious mind, there are many ships, but they're all scuttled, they're all wrecked, they're all sunken in an ocean. So it took me to the first ship, responsibility and integrity. That one was sunken, and the subconscious mind explained to me how it was sunken. It was sunken when these people demonstrated that you can be a complete piece of shit and still win at everything. Congratulations on that, by the way. So why the fuck would you act with integrity if there's no reason to do that? And all it does is get you killed, by the way. I learned that because I was acting with integrity the entire time, and everybody wanted me to die. And even after I saved some 300,000 people from human trafficking, I stopped the Memphis from getting killed and getting their brains eaten, and I saved a whole bunch of people from a bunch of horrible deaths, everybody just wanted me to die. That was the plan. Yeah, you people that are the victims, I'm pretty sure God's going to want to ask you about that one, so you better come up with something really good, but I'm just going to tell him to send you to hell anyways. So get prepared. You're gonna get there, and he's going to be like, God's going to be like, you have to go to hell. And you're going to be like, Bobby? Yeah, Bobby. It was Bobby. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. We fucked that guy over. We thought it was a good idea. The next ship was Courage. Courage was sunken, and there was no real explanation as to why or how it was sunken. And as my subconscious mind ruminated on it, I started feeling a stabbing sensation in my lower back. That's where the Courage chakra is. And it was sunken through heavy metal poisoning. This is why I can't digest things. But also I figured out that the ADHD brain and something about having ADHD causes candida infections, yeast bacteria to grow in your gut. And that enhances the hypersensitivity to fear. So not only do I have the ADHD fear brain, which is an overreaction to fear, I have trauma and PTSD, which enhances that fear. I have a swollen amygdala from the aspartame I drank. And I have a yeast problem that causes fear to become overwhelming in my mind. Because of you people poisoning me with heavy metals. But you don't do agency, and that's the kind of hero you guys like. The guy that doesn't have agency or accountability in anything he does. He just does stupid shit and then runs off. Because that's amazing. Because you're 2-year-olds, and your hero operates like a 2-year-old. I was shown a variety of other ships in my mind that were all sunken, and they were all supposed to be vessels to explore the vast ocean of stupidity. There's even fucking little areas that are kind of fucked up from hypnosis and other stupid fucking shit that happen. And the ocean gets all choppy and crazy. I don't know. It's a wonderful metaphor for the human mind. I saw many things. I'm not going to talk about them all. One of them was connections to other people. I don't trust anybody around me, ever. There's no reason to. Because even they were knifing me in the back during this entire process. I don't know. You know, they say, like, guilt kills people. I think that's a fucking lie. I don't think, because, dude, everybody around me, 300,000 people being human trafficked, babies getting raped, women getting their brains eaten, and everybody's working against me. Once again, when you meet God, so why were you working against that Bobby guy? Straight to hell. He was trying to do the right thing. I was scared. I'm really stupid. I can't do the right thing. I hate him. I didn't want him to be better than me. I was so insecure and jealous about it. I wanted to destroy him. Like, whatever the excuse is. Straight to hell. I don't know. So I guess in a nutshell, To conclude this ranty rant, the issue is these people wanted to make me into their kind of hero, not the bumbling idiot. And honestly, it's that thing I said I would be terrified to just let somebody else write my life story, because they would change everything to this unbreakable, valiant guy, when actuality I was terrified, panicking, running around screaming, and fucking getting threatened and telling these people to fuck off, and just my general belief and acceptance that good people in the universe were going to help me, and then nobody came. And even in this church, like, nobody's coming, because you make sure nobody's coming. People can come, people can help, but this church isn't gonna let that happen, because that would involve giving people hope. And hope is something they hate. They can't stand the idea of hope. It makes them physically ill. Okay? They can't stand the idea of good people. It makes them physically ill. Alright. All these things. And then you go, these people are the good people. I've never seen a better representation of a demon in person. I've never seen a better representation of a person who needs a bullet to the head in person. But I suppose that doesn't matter either. Yeah. So, Blondie's dumbass and Anal Eating Mummy God's dumbass was, instead of just letting me be the guy I was, they sought to control everything. And even this shit with the cinema guys, I kept talking about how the situation was rigged, and I didn't want to go along with it because it was rigged. It was rigged. And you guys got to think, they rig everything. And I remember Anal Eating Mummy God was like, oh, that's all in your head. Ha ha ha. You guys have been poisoning me with heavy metal since I was a kid, and I was convinced I was just stupid because I was poisoned with heavy metals. No, I wasn't stupid. You made me stupid. Okay? And this is, again, responsibility and accountability, but this is the thing. You don't have men in your church. You have women. You have babies that don't take accountability or responsibility for their actions. They fuck shit up and then run off. Okay. So if you're a member of this church, don't ever refer to yourself as a man. Refer to yourself as a baby. Alright. That fucks other babies. Literally. No. Yeah. And it was the cinema guys that were like, oh, it's not rigged, it's staged. And in my brain, that completely clicked and put everything in the opposite direction, because I'm used to you bastards rigging everything against me. And that's how I felt. Because in my brain, it's me versus you disgusting pedophiles. And you are all disgusting pedophiles. And you might go, well, some of us don't rape babies, Bobby. You defend a disgusting pedophile. That makes you a pedophile. Stop defending the pedophile, and then we can get on with it. You're not gonna. Because you don't have values or morals of any type. Because Friedrich Nietzsche said throw those out. And as we know, the angry man with the mustache you need to do what he wants you to do. Yeah. I think this concludes this rant. This was just an awakening I had, just the complete understanding. I don't think I can Bobby my way through this, because I'm pretty sure this church has figured out every way I could have Bobbied to ever Bobby my Bobby ways through Bobbying. And I don't think there is any other way around it. Whatever. So Anal Eating Mummy God was like, he has hope and it gives him a superpower. Take it from him and turn him into one of us, a disgusting piece of shit that rapes kids. Great. Wonderful. And this feeds into my final point. What would be the point of me manning up doing all these things if I just turn into you disgusting people? What would be the point? I'm just as disgusting as you. There would be no point. Go to fucking hell where you belong. Shoot yourself in the fucking heads already. Nobody wants you here. Not even God himself.